What's up guys, Lewis here from Indie Cradle, back with another indie game review, and today we are talking about Children of Morta. Now this is a game that I've been super excited to play for well over 2 years now. I played the game originally over 2 years ago at an EGX Rezzed event in the Xbox section of the show, and since then I've played it several times at game shows, and every time I've played it, it's always perked my interest more and more and more and more. And the game is finally here, or it's finally here on PC anyway. So I should say it's releasing on PC on the 3rd of September, available on Steam and GOG. And it's also releasing on consoles, all consoles, PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch on the 15th of October. So console players, you're going to have to wait a little bit over a month, I'm afraid, to get your hands on the game. But anyway, we are here to chat about the game as a whole. So, in case you didn't know, Children of Morta is a rogue-lite, what the devs are calling RPG game. I wouldn't say it was an RPG game, and I'll get on to meat of that as we go on. But I'd say it's definitely a rogue-lite, but it's more of a rogue-lite adventure game, because the RPG mechanics are restrictive. That's not me giving negatives to the game now. I'm just saying that for me, it's not an RPG. But anyway, we jump onto that. So, Children of Morta is developed by Dead Mage, and it is published by 11-Bit Studios. And it's set in this fantasy world of Raya, where, lo and behold, corruption has taken over the world, and this evil purple dripping plague stuff has managed to mask animals and wildlife, and it's kind of just tearing this lovely fantasy world to pieces. And the Bergson family, you play as the Bergson family, have taken upon themselves to take the fight back to the corruption and cleanse the land of this weird purple plague that's currently spreading itself or manifesting in the heart of the mountain called Morta. And that's kind of where the game title comes from. You're playing as the children and Raya and Morta. Anyway, I don't need to go into the lore of the game. That gives you a context of what you're doing throughout the pretty long playtime of the game. So, those of you who might not be here for the whole time or want to jump in and out of the video, I was going into this game super excited. Did the game live up to my expectations? In short, yes. But there's a few things about the game that didn't annoy me. Were just, I suppose, I can't say let down, because the issues with Children of Morta, or where Children of Morta drops the ball a little bit, is where every single every single rogue-lite game pretty much drops the ball, and that's with its pacing and its kind of gameplay loop. So, we're going to kick off with that. So, as we said, the mountain, the Morta Mountain, whatever it's called, is where the end goal is. You're trying to you go down to the basement. So the main game hub is your family house. Your family house is your main game hub. After you finish like a dungeon run or anything like that, you go back there. Sometimes there's like hidden conversations to unlock. Other times you just jump between a forge or a workshop, You jump between what's called the Book of Raya, which is like you can upgrade certain items there. You can jump into a library where you can check out the codexes, journal entries. I recommend checking out the library. That's one of my, I can't say favourite sections of the game, because the game, like, that sounds bad, but the library's great. I'm a person who loves reading about stuff in games, and you've got this kind of pretty meaty context to every single member of the family that you're playing as, or that are just in the game. And it kind of really gives you a backstory. So when I was playing the game, and sometimes another family member pops up in the game, I kind of was like, oh, cool, this kind of links to that part of the library. So I recommend checking the library out. If you're not into reading stuff in games, maybe don't worry about it too much. But anyway, so that's your main gaming hub, is the house. And then you go down like Batman into the basement, and all of a sudden these portals open up, and you can jump between these portals. So you have to go through. They're effectively dungeons. They're randomly generated dungeons. They aesthetically look the same for that world. So like Dungeon 1 is this kind of undergroundy, classic-y, fantasy dungeon place. Then you've got a sand place, and then you're kind of going into the mountain itself. And it's this is where the gameplay loop comes in. So you jump into these portals. You have 3 sections in each one. There are extra little areas, but I don't want to say anything because they kind of unlock unexpectedly in the story. So I won't go on to that. So don't just think, if you're watching the video now going, oh, it's just these portals here, the game looks quite small. The game is not small, the game is meaty. But again, I'll touch on that as we organically progress through this review. Now, So you jump down into these portals, you jump into a dungeon, effectively. I'm going to refer to them as dungeons, that's what they are. And then there's like 3 stages, you kill the final boss, and you unlock the next portal. And by clearing each 3-stage dungeon, you unlock a spirit. And unlocking these spirits are what you can help to then overcome the King of the Mountain. Is it God of Mountain or King of the Mountain and all that? Now, that's how the gameplay loop works. Where the game gets most things really, really right. That's terrible English, but it gets many things. It does many things very well. Pacing, especially. Pacing in this game is very good because when you die in these dungeons, you come back. You're always treated to a little kind of family-orientated mini clip, and now these could be 5 seconds. They can be 30 seconds, and it's just about one family member maybe sending a letter off to someone else, or the family members training outside, or different things like that. But it always meant that when I died, I was like, was I meant to die to progress this story? Or if I didn't die now, would I not hear this stuff? And that not knowing, that feeling like I was being treated the story unexpectedly, I suppose, was really nice. And that means the pacing in the game is very, very good. Where the issues come in are some of the areas can get quite challenging, and what happens is as you progress, you unlock up to 6 members of the family, and you can play as all 6 members. Now, the 6 members of the family all offer a different fighting style, which is probably where the developers say the RPG element comes in. Oh, you play as this person, this is your RPG, your role playing as this person, that's because you like playing as a tanky person with slow but big attacks, or you like playing as a ranged person, or you like playing as a mage. And the issue with that is every family member, every Bergson family member has a skill tree. And the skill tree, again, isn't very RPG because it's not, oh, I'm going to go down this branch of skill tree or this branch of skill tree. It's more a case of, I'm going to unlock all the skill tree and become very powerful. So you can't really choose a playstyle within the skill trees. Well, you can in a couple of them, but it's very, very limited. But the issue with choosing a set family member to complete the game with is that as you progress through the skill tree, the family members unlock passive abilities, but these are family passive abilities. So if I unlocked one with Linda, who is the, I'm pretty sure that's the name, the archer, she, her first one, I think is to do with critical hit damage, and that means that increasing critical hit damage on all of my family members. So there's no point putting all my eggs in one basket of one family member because I'm then missing out on extra passive abilities. That's why I would say it's not much RPG, which isn't a bad thing. But it's misleading. I jumped in expecting these skill trees to be like build this playstyle or this playstyle or this playstyle, and it very much isn't. You could argue that, oh well, there's runes and I collect runes or divines or these buffs that go through the stage that will help me and aid me as I go on a run, but they are RNG based, so it's not very much RPG because it's like all roguelites. If I got a thing to grab, if I've got something that does range damage but I'm playing as a melee person, I'm still going to take it because it's better to have it rather than not have it. Then there might come a chance and I can swap it out for something that suits me better, but chances are that's not really going to happen. So again, that's where I mean, if you're looking for a deep RPG game, this is not a deep RPG game. This is more of an action game, an adventure game that has very small elements of RPG. But anyway, that's that rant done, or that part over. So you jump in. As you're playing through, you unlock new family members, as I said. Now, where it drops the ball a little bit is, like I said, with all other roguelite adventure games, meaning that when you get to a certain stage, so let's say I started to struggle on the 3rd stage of the first dungeon, and then more because I needed to level up my other heroes. But when my other heroes were slightly lower, in terms of I didn't have the passives across all of them, so you can use the workshop to upgrade damage for all family. Every upgrade you do is upgrade for all family members. So I didn't have that enough to do damage, or I didn't have enough abilities because I hadn't pushed their skill tree far enough. So I was very much just jumping in to get as far as I can and collect, not gold, the game calls it Morve. Morve is effectively gold in the game. To collect as much gold as I possibly can, to then just die, come out, level everyone up through the passive abilities, the like crit damage, the base damage, the health, the Book of Rhea that was improving like rune efficiency and improving how much XP I get and how much Morve I collect. All that to then keep jumping in. And it comes into that kind of cycle where you hit that wall where you have to just go in and die to get the resources to improve. Now, I'm fine with that in roguelike games. I would say there was times in this where it felt like it went on a bit too long. We're talking maybe I went on for like an hour and a half, 2 hours in the same stages, just kind of going through to get the stuff to be able to go on to the next stage. And then I'd start the next stage and be like, whoa, this is pretty damn challenging. And then I'd go through the same kind of starting steps, get my feet underneath me, level up lots of stuff, and then get going through that stage. Now, as I said, that's an issue with any roguelite. And the issue lies in the fact, well, two big reasons. One, you're probably going to get a better player than me, jump in and go, what the hell are you on about? I just absolutely blitzed through this. Two, you might end up getting the best runes or divines on a run that completely suit the person you're playing, and you have this crazy synergized build that just wrecks everything. So, and then you might just clear the final stage, the final boss of that spirited area because you had a great build. So there's an area that, on my experience of it, it felt a little bit too grindy, and that's coming from someone who likes grinding in video games. I will say the rewards do really pick up in terms of how much gold you earn, that you really start picking up. And it's never a case of, oh my god, I need to do 5 runs to earn this one thing. When I was coming out of a dungeon after dying, I was having enough morph to level up 2 or 3 workshop attributes or 2 Book of Rhea kind of attributes. So I had enough to really make progress, which is a kind of flip side of my initial, not concern, but thing I didn't like much about the game. Anyway, so let's jump on to some combat now. Gameplay and combat. So we spoke about the whole gameplay loop. The combat in this game is one of the standout elements of the game. The combat feels super cool and very, very different based on each family member. Like I said, you have 6 family members overall. I can't remember all their names, I'm afraid, guys. But effectively, you have one guy who swings this massive axe. It's a very slow animation. We're talking he does pretty serious damage. You have Linda, I do remember, who is the archer. I'm pretty sure her name's Lucy, who's the kid. She's like this pyrotechnic mage who fires these fireballs. She ended up being my favourite character by the end of it. Started off not liking her at all because when you fire the fireballs, she has to be stationary. And then you can start firing fireballs and actually... There's certain abilities she unlocks and certain divines you can find that really help her abilities. For example, you can unlock this decoy, so you pop a decoy down, you throw a tornado around it, so everyone starts attacking the decoy. The decoy explodes off a rune when it takes damage, and then they're all caught in whirlwind, and then you just firing pyrotechnic mages, like pyrotechnic fireballs at them. It's brilliant. Like that's a testament to how the game progresses. There was Mark, who I really liked in the end. He has this kind of melee ability. He's like kung fu. He can only target one single person at a time. And there's this whip to kind of bring everyone into him and stuns them and hits them with these kind of kung fu abilities. He's pretty cool. John's your classic just dude with a sword and a shield. But all of them do require a different playstyle. There's no denying that. Some you can run into and take the big damage and tank it. Others you have to step back from and really be careful how you approach the situation. And I suppose you could argue there's an RPG element as you're playing through the game because you need to choose what order do I unlock the skills. So there's definitely an RPG element there. But the combat and the gameplay is super, super slick. I really liked it. The bosses felt cool. They didn't have dramatic different kind of mechanics going. There was a couple that had some cool mechanics. A couple that I had to die a couple of times and go, I see, I need to do this, which I liked. But most of them, for the most part, is learning their animations, learning their attack animations, knowing when you have a window of opportunity, making the most of that opportunity, and kind of just being patient, just kind of playing through it. The actual, like, finding different runes all make a big difference. Finding the different divines that kind of act as levels, act as these kind of in-game, in-run buffs, all felt great. Though, like I said, when you die, you don't lose anything apart from progress in that dungeon. You take everything else with you, which is great. XP comes with you, or your gold comes with you. And for the whole part, the game felt very nice to play, and I really enjoyed playing it. I have to say one thing on that, okay? So my playtime, the game took me 18 hours, just over 18 hours, according to my Steam game clock. And I do have to say, I had 3 big crashes in that time. Now, I'm playing a pre-release version. I'm pretty sure this will be patched out afterwards. Definitely, I'd say for the console versions, considering that's 6 weeks away. But twice on the second stage of the second big dungeon area, I had a crash. I'd finished the final boss and it crashed twice in a row. We're talking that run was about 45 minutes to get to the boss and kill the boss. And then I had a big crash on the final stage of the same dungeon. I probably lost 3 hours progress in this game due to game crashes. Now I have to say that I'm hoping it gets patched, but from what I played, that was a big issue. It was very frustrating. Maybe that was part of the reason that when the end credits rolled later on, I was a bit like, finally it's done. It did leave a slight salty taste in my mouth, the fact that I was like, come on, I'm working so hard to get this game done, I want to get it finished, I want to get a review out, and it crashed and crashed and crashed. And yeah, so take that as you will. I didn't have any issues with the final stages, I didn't have any issues with the first stage. It was just the sand temple kind of place where I didn't have any performance issues in the game. No frame rate drops, nothing like that. Just literally finish the boss, crash. Finish the boss, crash. And that was just very, very frustrating. And we're going to wrap up with aesthetics, visuals, and sound. Because, my God, the game is stunning. Like, visually, absolutely gorgeous. The game is very nice to look at. It is very pretty. The animations are glorious. I'm not normally a huge fan of pixel artwork because I feel like it can be very overly done and very generic. This has just down to the slightest breathing animations and the slightest way that they pick something up and pixel dust will kind of fall off of an item. And it looks so nice when the grandma hits a cane on the floor in this swirl of kind of very mysterious blue, almost cyberpunky stuff starts filling the floor, and it just looks lovely. Sound is fine. It feels great. Sound effects are good. The music in the dungeons is fine. I didn't once go, wow, I need to buy this soundtrack. And then the actual narration is pretty good. It's the voice doing the narration over the top, speaking about the family. It's kind of like perfect for the job. This deep, very what sounds like mature, wise voice, I suppose, speaking. I don't know how to explain it, but it fits, is what I should say. As a design purpose, visually, sound, it all fits. It works very well. But that's going to wrap up, guys. That's my in-depth thoughts of Children of Morta. Now, we don't score games here. Apologies if you've watched the whole video. You're like 18 minutes in and you're like, what? I was waiting for a score at the end. There's no score. Nope, we don't score games, I'm afraid, guys. We dropped scores a little while ago. You should basically know if you want to play the game based off what I've said of the game or not. Now, it's I would say that it's a very good roguelite. It's not a great roguelite. It's a very good roguelite game. Can't get my words out. If you're like, do you know what? I've never found one of these roguelite games that I've really enjoyed. If you feel like you've played a few of them and you feel like there's not one that's quite grabbed my fancy yet, if I'm being honest, this probably isn't going to grab your fancy. This is, if you like roguelite games, I'm a big fan of roguelite games, or if you just like adventure games in general, then there's definitely a lot to enjoy in Children of Morta. You're definitely going to have fun there. The whole family affair orientation and continuous drip feeding of little family bits of story really help push the game along, really help it break the mold of being just another roguelite adventure game. The story is very generic in terms of corruption and all that, but I said this in the preview, it felt very nostalgic. It felt like I was playing through one of my favourite childhood movies, Neverending Story or Labyrinth or Legend or something like that. It felt like I was in this whimsical kind of world. And that I enjoyed it, and that definitely helps me kind of play through the story more. Now, yeah, that's it. I mean, I could go on more, but I don't want to go on more. I don't want to get videos go on forever. But anyway, guys, that is it. That is my thoughts on Children of Morta. If you're looking forward to picking the game up, or if you're thinking about picking the game up, then let me know in the comments below. If it's anything you think I've missed, or there's something you really want to know about the game, let me know in the comments below, and I will get back to you straight away. But anyway, guys, that is Children of Morta, releasing on PC on the 3rd of September, releasing on PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch on the 15th of October. If you're interested, check it out. Definitely check it out. Like I said, if you want to know more, let me know in the comments below. But until next time, guys, thank you for watching the video. Have a great day, morning, evening, whatever it is, wherever the hell you guys are. And until then, goodbye.